What's up, guys? Classy Metal here. Man, it's been a rough week. Um, been ill the majority of the week. Actually, was afraid that I had COVID. I think the doctors were afraid as well. Went to the doctor, couldn't get out of the car just because I had symptoms. Had to take a COVID test, which took forever to come back because they were so backlogged. Fortunately, that came out negative. The test alone was absolutely miserable. Test came back negative. Turns out I had scarlet fever. I guess if you're going to have a plague-like illness, you might as well bring something back from the previous century. It kind of goes with the types of music and stuff I listen to as well. So if anybody was going to get scarlet fever, I could see it being me. Um, been pretty much quarantined to the house for the whole week while I've been ill, while I've waited on my results. Had a lot of time to listen to music. I've gotten quite a big stack of stuff in that some of the stuff I haven't even opened yet just because wasn't feeling well. The package that I'm going to show today, I've been wanting to show. I've been waiting about 2 months for it to get here. I'm glad that it finally made it. I was beginning to wonder if it was ever even going to show up. Lost my train of thought completely. Like, man, I've had this rash. I'm going to show it. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up. All of this up here a couple days ago, the whole top of my head was just red, blistered, and itching. And so if you see me reaching for the hat and scratching, I apologize. I had rashes like that coming up all over. Like I said, I'm just thankful that it was not COVID. At least it was something that they could treat. I'm on this heavy dose of antibiotics, and it seems to be working. Antibiotics kind of wreak havoc as well. I got to go back to work tomorrow. Going to be on a work stint for about 6 days. So I figured I better knock at least a video out today because I don't know how I'm going to have time to squeeze them in during the rest of the week. I'm going to quit rambling now. Like I said, I'm on medication. Anyway, what I've got here is a 15 CD lot. This came from Mass Dead Records in Italy. This was a sale they had going on their Bandcamp page. Unfortunately, this is no longer available. Like I said, I've been waiting for about 2 months for this to come in. I'm certain they've already sold out. I'm going to link up the Mass Dead Records Bandcamp anyway. That way you can check it out. It'll be in the description. Maybe you'll find something on their label that you enjoy. Like it just started storming like crazy outside, like out of nowhere. It just started storming. So sorry, I got sidetracked. Like I said, it was a 15 CD lot from Mass Dead Records. Um, it was 15 pounds, which translated roughly to about $16. The shipping on it wasn't bad either. I think the shipping was right about what I paid for the actual CD. So roughly it was $30 for 15 CDs. Some of the stuff they had in a picture, and then some of it was a bit of a surprise. I couldn't even go back and look to see what was coming in at a certain point because once they sold out, they completely took them off the Bandcamp. So by the time it took so long to get here, by the time it got here, most of the stuff in it is an actual surprise. So I've listened to some of this. I've had quite a bit of time this week to just sit around and listen to music. I have listened to some of these. Some of these, admittedly, I have not checked out yet. But like I said, I wanted to go ahead and knock this video out. The first thing we've got here is the Scars of Numa with the Path of Seven Sorrows. This looks like some pretty solid stuff. I have not checked this one out yet. I believe this is like some black and death metal. This was released last year on Promethean Fire Productions and Colony Music. It's a joint release. Most of the stuff that I'm going to be showing that came in this lot was Colony Records releases out of Italy. A lot of Italian bands, a lot of Italian and then some European, a lot of international stuff in this. Some stuff I probably wouldn't have been able to pick up cheaply here just because of the shipping alone. So it was a nice chance to pick up some new stuff that I probably wouldn't have got my hands on anyway. So well, I guess without doing a lot. Next up, we have To Cast a Shadow with Winter's Embrace. This is another one I have not checked out yet. I'm pretty intrigued. This one was actually on my, I guess you could say, on deck to be listened to next. And then I ended up falling asleep yesterday, so I never got around to it. But definitely looking forward to checking this one out. This one is also released on Colony Records. Straighten that disc out. But after opening this up and going through kind of the stuff that I've gone through, I was super impressed, especially with the price point on this CD lot. There was quite a bit of good stuff in here. Next up, we have Forsaken and Forgotten with Shaded Enmity. Well, I guess Shaded Enmity with Forsaken and Forgotten. They actually transposed the album title and the band name on the spine. It was backwards from what which most everyone else does. So made me look like an idiot for a second, but that is not hard to do. I have not listened to this one yet either. Looks pretty interesting. Looking forward. I think those first three were actually the ones that I had set aside to listen to out of the next batch that I was planning on listening to. This one I have listened to. This is Dominance with Echoes of Human Decay. This is apocalyptic death metal. Pretty solid stuff. I believe this band is out of Italy. It seemed to me like the first half of this album was a bit more stronger than the second half. I can't tell if my contacts are just blurry or it's the actual camera, so I apologize if some of this stuff is coming off as blurry. As I said, the first part of this album seemed a bit stronger. There was a couple songs on here. Gilgamesh and Last Witness and Gilgamesh were probably my favorite two tracks on this release. Pretty solid stuff, just nasty, straightforward death metal, but good stuff there. Gets a little monotonous towards the end just because the last few tracks all sound so similar, but I did enjoy that release. Next up is another band. This one is a band actually out of Oakland, so I thought it was kind of neat to get it in a box that I ordered from Italy. This is Secrets of the Sky with To Sail Black Waters. This is kind of post-metal mixed with sludge. There's a lot of this sound coming out of Oakland. I believe this one was released back in 2013, so this one's been out a while. I did enjoy this quite a bit. It's got this post-metal kind of atmospheric type stuff mixed with like sludge, death doom. There's even a little bit of black metal sprinkled in on this as well, which I did enjoy. It was something kind of fresh and new because there's so many bands that sound so similar coming out of that Oakland Bay area with this kind of post-metal sludgy sound going on. And they fit right into that mold of those bands, but they offered something a little bit different as well. So I did enjoy that. Next up, we have Fractal Universe with Engram of Decline. I have not listened to this one yet. This one, they say you shouldn't judge by a cover. This is just one that will probably be one of the latter ones that I do listen to. I may listen to it and fall absolutely in love with it. It's just that the cover art wasn't just drawing me in on this, but it will get a shot and it will get listened to sometime in the near future. I'm sorry if you can hear it storming outside. I didn't even know it was supposed to storm today. I was planning on trying to get the grass cut before I went back to work, but I don't think I'm supposed to be out in the sunlight on these antibiotics anyway, so kind of works out, I guess. Next up, we have Ogen with Black Metal Unbound. I have not listened to this one. This is one that I'm definitely looking forward to checking out. This was also released on Colony Records, so I'm guessing Colony has a pretty vast array of different types of bands within different types of genres within their catalog. There's the inside. Not a whole lot going on in that, but definitely looks like something I could be into. Hopefully that'll be some good stuff, some good solid black metal there. Next up, we have Tragodia with Mythmaker. This is some like progressive power metal, I guess you could say. It's kind of a mix between progressive and power metal. Very accessible stuff. Almost sounds like radio rock at times. Not bad. Not something that I'm going to find myself just listening to a whole lot. It kind of fit the mold. I had a pretty pounding headache going on the other day, and I threw this in, and it was kind of something to not too over the top heavy, kind of ease that headache, and I kind of listened to it as I went off to sleep. It wasn't bad. Just when I'm in the mood for something like that, it can definitely kind of scratch that itch. It leans a little bit more to the progressive side than the power metal side, but not a bad listen altogether. So pretty good stuff right there. Next up, we have Necrosavant with Aniara. MMXIV. I've lost on the Roman numerals there. Maybe 2014. This was released in 2016. This is also a Colony Records. This is kind of some black and death metal. It's one track that is based off of a Swedish poem, which is entitled an aria. So I guess that's where the name of the album came from. It's got some guest vocalists and stuff, and the song is like separated into different, I guess they call them movements or different sections within the song. Pretty good to have like the different vocalists standing out on their own, kind of to mix it up a little bit within that same song. It was pretty interesting. It just kind of tells the story of this poem through the entire album. I think this was like a crowd-funded album. Pretty good stuff. I was intrigued by this, and I did enjoy this quite a bit. So I believe it's a one-man project, and then he's got guest vocalists throughout the release. So pretty good stuff right there. Very ambitious release, kind of a concept album, but it was some pretty good stuff. Next up, we have another one that I have not listened to. This is De Profundis with De Profundis with the Emptiness Within. I've actually heard some pretty good things about this release. I just haven't gotten around to giving this one a listen yet. I think it was touted pretty highly with some of the reviews and stuff that I've read on this, but I just haven't taken the time to check it out myself. The teeth on the inside of this case are busted, so I'm going to have to change the tray. But there's the inside of the case. And then there's the actual disc. I do own a release from a band called De Profundis, but I don't think it's the same project. I think that's more of atmospheric type black metal. I think this one hinges more on the black and death metal realm, from what I've read on that. The next two albums were both from the same band. I did actually already own one of these, but out of this whole box, it was the only album that I already owned. This is some Polish thrash metal. It's very accessible. Excuse me. It's very accessible type thrash metal, almost commercialized, modernized thrash, but it is a pretty decent listen. The one that I already owned was this Cutthroat Melodies. The name of the band is Chain Reaction. These Chain Reaction, I mean, like I said, they're kind of commercialized, kind of modernized thrash metal, but they're still a pretty solid listen. I mean, I'd actually sought out and purchased a copy of this already. So, I mean, obviously, it's something I do enjoy. Their albums can usually be found like on eBay or secondhand sites like that. You can usually find their material pretty cheap. I definitely, if you're into thrash metal and you're not just super into having to have underground thrash and that type of stuff, if you do enjoy some modern thrash and even some of that more commercialized, popular type thrash, you might want to check this out. Like I said, you can get their material for super cheap, but I do enjoy Chain Reaction. So. And the other album from Chain Reaction that was in there was Vicious Circle. Have not taken the time to listen to this one yet, but if it's anything like Cutthroat Melodies, I probably will enjoy this to a certain extent. So pretty good stuff. Both of these were also on Colony Records. Like I said, the majority of the stuff that was in this box was Colony Records material. So there we go. Chain Reaction with Vicious Circle. Next up, this is another one that I have not listened to. This is Deviate Damien with Sanctitate. Something yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not gonna butcher that. I will list, as I usually do, everything that I show in this box is going to be in the description in the order that I actually show them. So yeah, this is, like I said, Sanctitate being yeah, man, I can't. It's that. So maybe you can make that out. Like I said, it'll all be in the description. Looks like some pretty gnarly looking stuff. This was actually released through Mass Dead Records. This is one of their labels material, so I'm sure it's probably some Italian. Looks like black and death metal. If I had to guess, that's what I'm saying. This is probably going to be, and probably, I'm assuming the band's probably from that area around Italy because that's where the label is. 2 left. Next up, we have the Cold Existence with Sombre Gates. I've heard some good stuff about this one. This is another one that had some pretty solid reviews as far as being good black and death metal. I gave some of this a listen. I have not listened to the entire album. Admittedly, I was pretty out of it when I listened to this. I think I was in and out of sleep while it was playing, but from what I remember, I did enjoy it. It's one that I'm going to have to go back and give it another listen just to give it a fair shot because, like I said, I was pretty out of it on the medicines and stuff that day. And then last but not least, this was probably my favorite one that I listened to out of this whole box. So it's pretty fitting that it was the last one that I pull out. This is Bilocate with Sudden Death Syndrome. This is doom death metal, kind of melodic doom death metal out of Jordan over in the Middle East. It's just Middle Eastern death doom, and it's done pretty flawlessly on this release. Very melodic, very plotting. Very good stuff. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. It's in the slipcase. I love the artwork on this. Love just about everything about this album. As I said, it's probably my favorite that I've received. Definitely my favorite that I've listened to out of this batch so far. There we go. And there's the back. Like I said, these unfortunately are no longer available on that Bandcamp page. I'm going to go ahead and link the Mass Dead Records Bandcamp up in the description anyway. That way you guys can go follow that label along, check out their material. You never know when something else like this may pop up as well, so it's definitely worth following and keeping an eye on, if nothing else. Thank you guys for watching, all that good stuff. I'm glad I'm on the mend. I have a ton of stuff that I want to show. I'll get around to it. It's just, if nothing else, there's plenty of material coming. Just I don't know when I'm going to get it up. But that's all I've got for today. Stay classy, stay metal. I'll see you all soon, I promise.